we've got no hope of following that one. Just as a disclaimer before we begin, my friend here has lost his voice today, so he's going to try and power through, but if it fails, I might just have to work him like a puppet tonight. So we'll see how things go.
Well done.
Go on, Pete.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Pete.
Pretending.
So, for those that don't know us, my name is Pete, and this is Dan, and we've had the pleasure of knowing Mitch now for a collective 50 years. Doesn't he look good for his age? We are genuinely honoured to have been asked to be the best.
And we would like to thank everyone for coming today. First and foremost, can we have a toast to the happy couple? No, not Pete and me. Mitch and Alice. Can we also raise your glasses?
Oh.
No, not those glasses. Not those glasses. In a toast to all those who couldn't be here today. Those close to everyone here who are sadly no longer with us. Those who are perhaps too far away to make it. And also the unfortunate schmucks who weren't invited. Cheers. One final special mention, no toasts, to the host of May the Films Be With You. Thank you celebrities for coming in. Chris and Callum, who are the ushers for today, we'd like to thank you for your involvement in helping out. Take a bow, please bring the podcast back. Yeah.
That's a hint.
So, if you can't hear us from the back, in particularly now me, as it turns out, the silence from the people at the front should reassure you that you really aren't missing anything. Alice, you do look absolutely fantastic today. And Mitch, you could have had a haircut, mate. Seems like, fortunately, despite our involvement today, everything has gone off without a hitch. And we couldn't be happier for you both. Congratulations.
One thing I would like to say is, Mitch, how lucky you are. You'll leave today with a wife who is warm, loving and caring. And Alice, you're lucky too. You'll leave here today having had a lovely day and a lovely dress.
It's a nice dress.
A special shout out to the bridesmaids. You all look wonderful today. And thank you so much for supporting Alice on her big day.
You're welcome. Yeah. Very welcome.
And a thank you to Alice's father for that wonderful speech just now. So the bit you've all been waiting for. The reason why Mitch is about to slump in his chair a bit. the embarrassing life stories. We've known Mitch for most of his life and met each other in the first year of primary school. We quickly formed a friendship due to our mutual love of computer games, really stupid inside jokes, and just generally being idiots together. We would often beg our parents to allow us to have sleepovers around each other's houses, and somehow Mitch managed to be the only one of us to have a bunk bed despite being an only child. He has a special way of words, that one. We spent many days as children running around the playground, pretending to be in a Final Fantasy game, or playing Kiss Chase together with Colette. It was also around this time that he reenacted the opening scenes of Lion King with his cat at the top of the stairs. And then testing his theory that they always land on their feet, but not always, they do not.
As we move through secondary school, the three of us always remained close, despite moving classes and all taking different subjects. He'd always been the brightest of the three of us, even if he sometimes doesn't look it, staring vacantly into the distance. I've got to say, that certainly doesn't reflect well on us, given the stories we're about to tell.
Like the time that Mitch walked 20 minutes to town on a particularly heavy New Year's Eve, without his shoes, only to have a nap in the pub.
Or the lovely time he spent 2 hours outside Chelmsford train station in a t-shirt in December, explaining to me how certain he was that he wanted to ask Alice to marry him. And that was before he developed bronchitis. Later,
And also how the last few times we've been together, there's been an extensive singing and dancing edition of The Greatest Showman.
Please give us a line.
Thankfully, I think we finally killed that obsession during a stag do. For those unaware, he was dressed up in the Hugh Jackman outfit from the hit musical throughout the weekend. This included pub trips, hikes in the Peak District, and an impromptu Sunday night out in Sheffield. What we're saying is that no matter if Mitch is vanishing on nights out and sleeping in the garden, getting lost in Derby, crawling through houses and getting wrestled out of showers, or just generally staring vacantly into the distance, everyone here most likely has a story involving Mitch they think back to fondly. He's a dependable friend to everyone in his circles, and nobody goes too long without having a laugh when in his company.
So while it's obvious he's made some very questionable decisions, maybe even stupid, in his youth, it is clear today that he made one very smart, sensible decision. And it's not his decision to invest in cryptocurrency early on. Was his decision to go out with and eventually propose to Alice. Alice, we both liked you from when we first met you. You're kind, you're smart, you're caring. And you make Mitch happy in a way that neither of us could. Mitch met Alice in the same way that he meets most people. Drunk. And yet he remained charming enough to convince Alice to spend most of an evening with him. They continued to spend the days together, and this quickly blossomed into the relationship that brought all of us here together.
When Mitch got engaged, we could not have been happier. The story he told us about how it happened is one of my favourite things ever. Mitch, being the old romantic he is, waited for Alice to go out, filled his living room full of candles, sat patiently, ring in pocket, waiting for her to walk through the door to pop the question. As romantic as his plan was, he did not expect to have to go out to pick Alice up. And Mitch, being Mitch, decided he didn't want to blow out the candles.
Why would you?
He shut the cats out of the room, raced to pick up Alice, and brought her home. On arrival, Alice was not expecting any of this and proceeded to look around the room that Mitch had so lovingly laid out for her, completely oblivious to Mitch, shuffling on one knee behind her, waiting for her to turn around and pop the question. Of course, when Alice did turn around, she was totally left speechless, and after a nudge from Mitch, she happily said yes, and the rest is history. They've already had an amazing journey together, first sharing a room at the Kingfisher household, followed by a nice start home in Melbourne that was the host of many terrific barbecues and parties. They were joined by their two children, Sydney and Diego, and have recently moved into their long-term home in Colchester, which I'm sure will continue to be the epicentre of good times and bonding. Okay.
You did. That's probably a good shout.
Yeah.
So we do joke at the daft things that you've done, but to wrap things up and to get a little bit more serious, Mitch hasn't been dealt the easiest hand in life. But when we've needed him, he has always been there for us. Thanks, man. He's got so many good qualities. He's not quick to judge. If he can help with something, he will. And when you're down, he'll do whatever he can to pick you back up. I genuinely cannot imagine my life. It's the bad throat. I genuinely cannot imagine my life to this point without him, and feel privileged to be up here with Dan, talking about the brother that I never had. This throat, man. He's been the best mate that we could ask for, and we are very, very fortunate to have you in our lives.
Now, whilst Mitch is a walking story generator, and I could list his good qualities for hours, it's time to talk about his lovely bride today, Alice. I think my favourite quality about Alice is that she has this amazing knack for bringing people together. And she's blessed to be friends with the good people in this room. I know for a fact that many of the friendships in this room exist only because Alice was the catalyst of those friendships. And Alice herself is an integral part to all of those friendships. I think it's safe to say that everyone's lives are improved by having Mitch and Alice involved in them in one way or another. So finally, please be upstanding and raise a glass to the true happy couple. If you can stand up. Mitch and Alice, we all wish you the best of happiness in the world. Cheers. Cheers.
Well done, Pete. Well done.